Hi, YouTubers.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 55 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. That's Christian and Matt over there having a grand old time. Christian, Matt, say hello.
Hello. Hello.
Okay. All right. They're together for the holidays. I will hopefully be joining them not next week, but the week after for our recording. Are you guys excited?
I mean, there are better things in the world.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited. I got on my Man City scarf, even though I'm not a Man City fan, but they just, scored
Fix that, please.
I was trying to show my sweatshirt, but I just realized you can't really see it in this lighting. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
looks great. Looks great. They just won their 15th game. We're going to be talking about them on the podcast. All right. I'm getting some serious echo.
I think I know why. Can't be it. No, it's all.
All right. YouTubers, apologies. Yep, that's worse. Oh, man. So the funny thing is, we spent about 15 minutes before we went live on YouTube dealing with technical difficulties. We had it figured out, and something seems to have happened.
Okay, now.
It's okay now. It's a little bit better, but then now All right, you know what? Let's just get into things. It's just anytime you guys move, so like that, it's picking up and it's very loud.
All right, now talk. I think we've only gone and done it.
I think
Okay.
we fixed it.
All right, I think that's better. We're not gonna be able to see you, so maybe just when you talk, lean over.
Hey, Dave.
If I had a nickel for every time you
Hey,
said,
Dave.
I think that sounds better.
Hey, Dave.
What's up?
Hey, Dave. How's that pillow talk?
Our
He doesn't get it because he's on a pillow right now.
yeah, you're on pillow.
Okay. All right. This is some great content we got going on here. All right. Are you guys, Christian, do you have a trivia question this week?
I think that's gonna be worse. Leave it flat.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it flat. I'll leave it flat. I'm gonna leave it. I do, but I don't remember what it was, and we're in my phone. So hold on 1 second.
Oh God. All right. So listeners, little or watchers on YouTube, just bear. Christian, can you please mute while you're clicking around so that we don't all have to hear that. We're going to talk about Champions League today. Bosch out at Borussia Dortmund. Ronaldo and the Ballon d'Or. Then talk about Man City and their whole food fight, milk fight, whatever the hell happened. All that stuff. And then some talk some MLS and U.S. soccer presidential election. So that's a little preview for you guys as Christian hopefully gets his stuff together. So hopefully he'll be back in a minute or two, and we'll hopefully have a better show, and hopefully we get some of the sound issues sort of corrected. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. And at this point, I'm just talking to myself. So if you're watching, please stick with us as I just ramble on here, and hopefully get things going any minute now. Any minute. All the joys of trying to make this podcast. Okay, there we go. There they are. All right. You guys good? Okay, cool. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 55 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and I am here with my brothers, Christian. All right, I can't even do it. Something keeps clicking or moving.
It's moving the phone.
Yeah. Can you just
leave it there?
Okay. All right, here we go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 55 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. You know what? I don't know if maybe it's me. You know what? I'm going to try my other mic and see if that helps. All right, stick with us, listeners. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, this is by far the best ever done.
What did you say? What's that?
The best one we've had. This is going so well. This is just the best.
Yeah.
Having such a great time.
I'm aware. All right, that there. Sound. Let's go through here. All right. Save. Christian, say something.
Hello.
All right. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, all right. I think it may have been on my end. I don't know. I think it may have been my webcam. So I apologize. At the very least, I'm just going to push through it at this point, and we're just going to fucking go. All right?
I want a sincere apology for all the blame you were throwing at us.
I was trying to troubleshoot the issue. So I don't apologize.
Here again, we're just going to go back on the computer then.
Huh? No. No, all right. But you can tilt it or whatnot if you want to at least see each other.
My God. Ooh, that was fun.
So we can see you, okay?
All right, go ahead.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 55 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and I'm here, as always, with my brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, how are you doing today?
I've had better days, Dave. Liverpool are just throwing it away year after year, and it was a tough day.
Yeah, it's about how it always goes. So it is frustrating times. Matt, how are you doing?
Doing incredible. City are doing very well. Manchester City. Wait, Liverpool? They're still in the top four, right?
No,
No.
they're fifth.
Unfortunate, but yeah, you still got Burnley ahead of you. You're gonna pass them, but yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Burnley's in sixth. Burnley started the day in fourth, but they're in sixth. Tottenham's in fourth right now. Liverpool's fifth.
Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Life of a Liverpool Arsenal fan is just the worst.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's a bit of an exaggeration, but guys, I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. Excited to make some salmon teriyaki bowls this evening. And beyond that, hanging out today, watching a bunch of soccer and just, loving life. So I'm doing well. Christian, do you have our trivia question for this week?
I do have the trivia question this week. The question is in relation to Harry Kane. So he played his 131st game, this weekend, and scored 9 goals in that time. Only one person has scored more goals in 131 Premier League games. Do you know who it is and how many goals they scored?
Okay, I think I have a guess. And it was, so just to repeat, it was 130 matches he's played in the Premier League, and he has how many goals?
131.
Is how many matches he's played. How many goals does he have?
Scored 90.
He scored 90. Okay, all right. So listeners, we will think on that. Matt and I will give our guesses at the end, and you'll give your guesses, but we won't hear them. And then Christian will reveal the answer, and it'll be just tons of fun. So
make sure before I give you the answer, obviously.
Yes, obviously. Before we get into our topics this week, I wanted to give a quick plug for Fan Futsal. So I'm the founder of Fan Futsal, which is a simplified fantasy soccer website. So instead of having you select a bunch of individual players and their individual stats equating to a fantasy score, we have you select 5 clubs and the match scores equate to a fantasy score. So we're really just simplifying fantasy soccer, making it simpler and easier for all soccer fans to play and have fun. We still have strategic elements like positions and formations. So you have the strategy combined with the simplified game. It's a really fun, awesome game. This week we have a tournament that the winner is going to get a $20 gift card to Bumpy Pitch, which is an awesome t-shirt, soccer t-shirt company. So join it. It's absolutely free to join. Check it out, enter, and you could win $20 for free. Just only takes a couple seconds to sign up, and each week it maybe takes a minute or two to set your lineup. So it's fanfutsal.com. So check that out. With that, let's get into our topics this week. And our first topic we want to talk about was the Champions League draw. So that happened this week. And so for those who may not have seen it, Juventus plays Tottenham, Basel plays Man City, Porto, Liverpool, Sevilla, Man United, Real Madrid plays PSG, Shakhtar Donetsk plays Roma, Chelsea plays Barcelona, and Bayern plays Besiktas. Christian, which matchup are you most looking forward to outside of Liverpool because you're a Liverpool fan?
Well, the matchup that I am most looking forward to is definitely Liverpool, but I understand why you asked your question now. The most exciting match is obviously the Madrid PSG game. 2 high-flying attacks. And I think this is the first time Madrid are going into a game as underdog, especially in the round of 16 that I can remember. It's going to be really exciting to see what they can do And I think that second leg being away and for them finishing in second in their group is going to be key in that game. And I honestly think that they might be heading out, even though they have all that firepower and experience in this competition. PSG really are a juggernaut this year, and I'd be shocked to see them drop out at this point.
Okay, Matt, same question for you. Which matchup are you most looking forward to?
Probably Tottenham, Juve. I think they're both pretty well defensive teams, pretty good defensive teams. Both, I think, have a shot at, probably should be competing maybe for like a semifinal spot. Both, I feel like they're not maybe Champions League winners this year. Juve, I feel like, dropped off a little bit, but both are really good teams, and I think it's going to be an interesting round of 16 match.
Agreed.
I wouldn't say that Spurs should be a semifinalist.
I think Spurs are really. They just came in first in the Real Madrid Dortmund group.
Yeah, well, Dortmund are a nightmare, so I wouldn't really compare anybody to that.
Didn't Dortmund have the best start to the German
Yeah, and then they completely imploded.
Yeah, I mean, they're still not a bad team. It's not like you're going to say Dortmund are a bad team.
They were bad. They are bad. They've been bad for 10 weeks.
Dortmund are not a bad team.
Yeah, so their form has them. Their form would indicate that they are a bad team. They just lost at home to Werder Bremen. This weekend, they finally got a win over, I believe it was Mainz. I was watching that, but they had gone, I think, since September without winning a match. So they were in a rough run of form. And yeah, we're actually talking about this later, so let's not get bogged down in that. Let's save that for later on in the podcast. But I so for argument's sake, I mean, I'll take the Chelsea FC Barcelona match that I'm really looking forward to. Chelsea has always kind of been Barcelona's sort of bogey team in the Champions League. I know they've gone through different managers. And, so I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. Also, Conte has proven to be, effective in competitions, knockout tournaments. He may not get to the championship and win it all, but he knows how to coach a side in those knockout rounds. And so I think that's going to be a fascinating matchup to watch as well. I think Barcelona should win that and go through, but I'm interested to see how, he can motivate the Chelsea team and see if he can do anything tactically to sort of nullify Barcelona. So I'll take that matchup.
Why do you think that Chelsea are Barca's bogey team? I feel like they only really did that one time.
I feel like they've done it in the past as well. I mean, the one time obviously comes to mind when they went to the Champions League final and won it. Chelsea's
yelling Torres.
Yeah. Yes, but I feel like that's happened in the past. I don't have specific examples to cite. I just had that feeling, and so I went with it. So I don't really remember, but I'm gonna stick with it.
Okay. I know for Messi specifically, they're a bogey team. He's faced them 9 times and has never scored against them. That's the longest run against any team in Europe.
That may have been what I was also thinking about. So, yeah. So let's just go with that.
Here we go.
Yep, there we go. Any matchup that you're not looking forward to at all, Matt? What do you think about City's match with Basel? Christian, what do you think about Porto and Liverpool? Matt, you go first. Basel versus City.
Well, Basel versus City, I think it's a great draw for us. Good chance to go through. I mean, they did beat United in their their group stage match, but I still think we should win comfortably.
Okay, Christian, Liverpool.
I'm very excited to see this. I think Porto are a really good, strong squad for coming out of the Portuguese league, and they're kind of always in there, going around the 16, sometimes get through to the quarterfinals. But they're not one of the elite teams, so Liverpool are favored, and I'm very excited to see it. The 2 draws that I would say I'm not really looking forward to as much would be the Roma-Shakhtar Donetsk game. I don't think that's really a high-flying matchup that people are looking forward to specifically. And the Besiktas-Bayern game. Besiktas kind of got screwed over there. Bayern are probably the strongest second-place team up there with Madrid, but that is just really unfortunate for coming out of their group as group winners when they were kind of written off. I guess you never know, though, because they did it once. Who knows if they can do it again?
Exactly, and their atmosphere and their stadiums is second to none, so it's fantastic. That's going to be an interesting match to follow just because both of them have really good fan support, and so at least in the stands, that the fans are going to be going crazy. So that'll at least be good to watch from that perspective. Actually, looking at our topics right now, going back to the Dortmund discussion, that was the next thing that we did want to talk about. Peter Bosz was fired at Borussia Dortmund. He was the former manager at this point. They lost to Werder Bremen at home last weekend, and that was the final kind of nail in the coffin for him. And so they replaced him with Peter Stoger, excuse me. And he's the former Köln manager who Köln is having one of the worst seasons in the Bundesliga. He was fired earlier this year, and Dortmund decided to hire him. So, number one, Matt, what do you think about hiring Peter Stoger as Bosz's replacement? And then what do you think the impact is going to be on Christian Pulisic?
The hire, I mean, I don't know much about the German league and how well you do like when they rotate coaches in new environments. But if it's somebody that knows the league and actually played in the league, he must have like some sort of knowledge of how to win games or, just know the culture. So I think getting somebody who's been in that league before, I think that's always a pretty good idea. Pulisic, I mean, yeah, I guess it's just a roll of the dice or flip of the coin of how the manager likes him or not. If the manager likes, Yarmolenko or Royce gets healthy or I'm trying to think of who their other wingers are.
Philip Schürrle.
Yeah, he prefers them over Pulisic. There's not much you can really do, and it's like if they perform well in his first two games, like he'll pick two wingers to start for the first two games, and they get off to two great starts. It's almost like Pulisic falls off the radar, and I think it's just kind of luck.
Yeah, so I'm worried about that from a little perspective. I mean, so he managed his first match. Dortmund won 2-0. Pulisic played in it, but he did not really play well. And so I'm slightly nervous from that perspective. Christian, what do you think about Stoger's appointment, given that, he wasn't exactly performing greatly at Köln this year, but he has performed well in the past?
I think it's a risky one. I don't know if he's really displayed consistency over the long haul. And Köln are really not what I consider a juggernaut of the Bundesliga. That's the second time I used juggernaut today. Look at that.
Words are fun.
Yeah, super fun. I think that Stoger is definitely going to be a risk. You never know what you're going to get, and it's good to have someone who has experience in the Bundesliga. I don't think he's been there, done it with a team that has the reputation of Dortmund. And to have the expectations is a whole different ballgame for him. It'll be interesting to see how he handles all the media scrutiny that I'm sure he's going to come under at some point. But you never know. You can't really write off anybody these days. Like, there are so many bold decisions that are made by boards or owners that decide they go with a certain manager because he offers them something. I don't really know what he's offering Dortmund that's different than Bosz or anyone else that they were considering. But they obviously something in him, so you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and at this point, I think it was, they stuck with Bosz as long as they possibly could have. I mean, he hadn't won since September, and they went from, I think, a 5 to 8 point lead over Bayern to now being down something like 13 to 15 points behind them, just over a short period of time. So I think they gave Bosz as much time as they could have. And Stoger, I think he had proven in the past, he brought Köln up from the second Bundesliga and built them into a team that over a couple of years that ended up coming in fifth in the Bundesliga last year, and they qualified for the Europa League. So I think he has the talent from a managerial perspective to manage in the Bundesliga, but he definitely hasn't done it at the highest level, like you were saying, Christian, where Dortmund is probably the second biggest club in Germany. So it'll be interesting to see how he manages all of that. And also, I think, he wasn't doing well with Köln earlier this year, but I think he's being hired based on his prior sort of experience. And I already gave my thoughts on how it's going to impact Pulisic. So anything else to add here?
Nah.
Nope.
All right, let's talk about the Ballon d'Or. And so Cristiano Ronaldo won his 5th Ballon d'Or this past week.
Hey.
Who's he?
Yeah. I don't know how to respond to that. So
he named twice there.
What's that?
Can you pronounce his name again, please?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
All right, there you go.
Okay, good. That was better.
All right, thanks, guys. He won his 5th Ballon d'Or this past weekend, beating out Lionel Messi. I am terrible with pronunciations. Let's go. I don't know. First off, do you think, Christian, do you think Ronaldo deserved to win the Ballon d'Or this past year?
This is a really tough question. I knew he was going to win it, but no, I don't think that he was the best player in the year individually. I think that his team won the Champions League, but overall, I didn't think he had a spectacular, damn it, year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to speak, isn't it?
And it's been it just surprises me how many he's won over the past couple of years. He's been delivering in the Champions League, and I think that's why. I think that has the most impact on the votes nowadays. But I just can't see anyone doing what Messi does over and over and over again. When he plays, he impacts the game regardless of whether he's providing goals, whether he's providing the assists. He has such an impact on games, and he's just such a joy to watch. And Ronaldo is extremely talented, and he's fun to watch too. But Messi is just a next level up, and there's a reason why he's compared to some of those other players. That Ronaldo is getting those comparisons somewhat now, but I just think Messi is a freak of a nature as an athlete, and he definitely deserved it this year with how consistent he was over the entirety of last season and coming into this year.
You mean the comparisons to like Maradona, Pele? Is that what you mean? Or what do you mean, the comparisons? Yeah. Okay, got it. Matt, your thoughts on Ronaldo winning? Did he deserve it?
Well, in terms of how they've been voting in the past, yes, he deserves it because basically who wins the Champions League and the league, or how well like you perform in those tournaments and league. I guess that's what the criteria is now, is just who wins Champions League. But like they had the same amount of goals pretty much. I think actually same assists the past year. So like that was pretty even. You can't argue like Messi had more production. I was fine with Ronaldo winning. Yeah, obviously they're the two best. No one else can really even be talked about. From the last, what is it, 10 years? You can't even really make arguments.
Actually, yeah. Kaká was the last winner that wasn't them, I think 10 years ago.
Yeah, so it's just, and the thing with like Messi, people say like Ronaldo's team was better, but I think Messi's just had the better team his whole career. Messi's never won a Ballon d'Or without having another teammate in the top three, which is something crazy that I found out, or I just realized this week. He's always had Xavi or Iniesta, which are two of the top three players for the last 10 years.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that. And that raises a good point. I mean, for as talented as Messi is, I think they've surrounded him with a lot of players that really complement his best talents. And so has Ronaldo, but Ronaldo's done it on different teams and things like that. So that's a really interesting point that you raised there, Matt.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Just because Ronaldo can do it on a cold, rainy night at Stoke, you just think he deserves everything, don't you?
Messi couldn't.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I know you said it's not worth discussing the other players on this list, but hey, let's discuss the other players on this list because there were some surprises in the rankings that I know we were texting about over this week. So it was Ronaldo first, Messi second, Neymar third. I think those are inarguable. Inarguable. But beyond that, Gianluigi Buffon was actually fourth in the voting, followed by Luka Modric fifth, Sergio Ramos sixth, and Kylian Mbappe seventh, N'Golo Kante eighth, Lewandowski ninth, and Harry Kane 10th. So let's cut it off there. Christian, what do you think about those rankings of the players filling out the top 10?
Buffon, I think, deserves the credit that he gets. I don't know if he should be 4, but he deserves to be top 10 this year. He was very, very good, and his team was outstanding last season. They almost won the treble for the first. I think it would have been the first time in Italy's history. Nope, other than Inter. Yeah, other than Inter, that's wrong. Inter did, but they would have been the first time in their history, and that would have been a really iconic season. And for an iconic player like that, I feel so sad for him that he's not going to the World Cup in probably his last season. But he really has been the most consistent and best goalkeeper over the last 20 years, I would say. So it's nice that he's finally getting that praise. Modric to 5th, I don't know if I agree with. I think he's a solid center midfielder, but I wouldn't say he's the best center midfielder in the world right now.
Who would you say?
I would say De Bruyne is the best center mid right now.
All right.
I think
tough to argue that.
And I think Tony Cruz is better than him, and I don't know why he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves, but whatever. Sergio Ramos, okay, whatever. I'm not sold on. All he does is get red cards all day. Kylian Mbappe, I will never be sold on, I don't think, unless he does something different.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand your understanding of what other people are talking about.
He carried that Monaco team to the semifinals of the Champions League.
Huge support group around him. Don't act like he was the only one who was doing anything.
He was the one finishing them.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was scoring goals, but
he was 18.
Okay, he's 18, but he's not the 7th best player in the world. There's no way in hell he's the 7th best player.
I argue he should have been higher on this list. I'm not saying he's the 7th best player in the world. Hey, I'm not saying he's the 7th best player in the world. I'm saying in 2017, his full body of work was better than 7th in the world.
With all the quality that France has, for him to be the number one French player just is stupid to me. I think N'Golo Kanté definitely deserves to be above him. And yeah, they're one spot apart, but N'Golo Kanté is an amazing center midfielder, all action player. Lewandowski at 9, whatever. We all expect that. And Harry Kane pisses me off. I just don't understand. He's been very, very, very good. I don't think that he's as good as. I don't think he's in the top 10. I don't think he deserves to be in there.
I think he should be higher.
I look at the list of the top 20 right now. I think he would be 20. Like, I think every one of those players is a better player than him.
Yeah, but are you judging it off of the quality that you see from him, or are you judging it off of their 2017 performance?
The actual quality of the players.
Yeah, but that's not what this list is, right? This is based on how those players performed in 2017. That's what the Ballon d'Or voting is.
So why is Kevin De Bruyne not higher?
He should be higher. Please don't, whatever's going on, stop. I think he should be higher.
Okay, and Tony Cruz, why the hell is he at 17? I don't get it.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I was asking you for, your opinion on, okay, so those players should be higher. Matt, what about you? Any players within this top 10 or more that you think should be there or shouldn't be there?
Yeah, I think I agree with Christian. Mbappe is pretty ridiculous being at 7. Yeah, I just think it's extremely ridiculous that he's ahead of so many French players, and especially with what he's doing this year. Like, it's still 2017, and what he's done this season, he's just taking a backseat to Neymar and Cavani. Like, it's not even close how much better Neymar and Cavani are than him this season. So I think it's just, yeah. So like, it's just weird that the voting just completely disregards this season. So like, that's my thing with Mbappe. I'm trying to think of the other guys.
What about Buffon at 4?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, a goalie at 4 with, the defense that he had. I don't even think he's the best goalie in Italy, because Donnarumma, if you watch Donnarumma play, he's the only reason like Milan got points last year. Like, he saved them in so many games.
Fair enough.
It's just that his team wasn't good, so he lets up a couple goals, and people think, like, if you're just looking from an outside point of view, you think Buffon outperforms him, when I don't think that was the case. Look at other guys. Lewandowski. I mean, yeah, I think he's in the top 10. I think in like past years he hasn't really gotten too much credit. But Bayern haven't really been performing, what they have been in the last like couple years. That is what they were. So I think the team's maybe gone down a little bit, and maybe Lewandowski's not getting the credit. Conte, I think he is, or last year he was the player of the year, right? Yep, in England. So yeah, he was Chelsea's best player. They won the league. I think he probably deserved that. De Bruyne, I think, should be higher in 14. And that's, I pretty much agree with the rest of the list. 2017, or at least to some extent, like, I understand why people are in each position. I think De Bruyne should be higher, but other than the guys I named, I could probably see a reason for each person.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, and Cavani. I think Cavani should definitely be in the top 10.
I also think it's too high for Isco. I don't know why he's in the top 20 at all. I don't understand that. He barely played that many games. I don't think he was even a starter last year.
Wasn't he like their best player for like all of the second half? He didn't start for like the first half of the season, and then he came in. And when Bale got hurt, ever.
Yeah, and he's having a fantastic start to this year too. But for me, I think Mbappe, Kante, Kane, and probably De Bruyne should be higher on this list, and Buffon, Modric, Ramos should drop down a bit. So those were kind of my thoughts. I don't want to get hung up too here. Let's keep this thing moving along here, guys. Anything else to add before we go to our first break?
Nope.
Nah.
All right, cool. So with that, you're going to hear some music, and we will be right back in your ears with our second segment. Stick with us. All right, guys, are you good? I love how we can just see the tops of your head when you speak. There you go. That's good. That's what the people want to see. All right, you guys good to keep going? There you go. That's good. That's sexy. You guys good to keep rolling? Good. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to our second segment. This is going to be a Man City heavy segment for you. And first off, just want to congratulate Man City on winning a record 15th straight top flight match earlier today. Wednesday, December 13th, they absolutely demolished Swansea. They demolished Swansea. Man, my pronunciations are just terrible today. They demolished Swansea City earlier today 4-0 for 129-year-old league in England, top flight soccer they've been playing, and that is the record. So congrats to them on doing that. This past weekend, though, they played Manchester United in the Manchester Derby and ended up winning 2-1. Congrats to them on that. But after the match, Jose Mourinho caused a little bit of drama. He went into apparently the Manchester City locker room and confronted them for celebrating what he deemed too loudly. And a ruckus broke out, and apparently he had milk thrown at him. Matt, I wanted to get your thoughts. You were the first one to bring this to my attention. I thought you were making it up at first, but it turns out this is a real story. What do you think about Mourinho confronting the City players? What do you make of the whole food fight situation? What's your take on all this?
I actually kind of love it. I love that there's a rivalry, a derby, kind of just a fighting, actual hate brewing between the two. Yeah, that was what I expect from a rivalry game, kind of like in football where you have your divisional games, you hate the Cowboys, there's there could be fights, people getting ejected, that's kind of a normal thing in football. I love that there's just passion and just hatred, and it's just more of a spectacle for a fan's perspective to just it just makes me more engaged for me personally. I know some people might not like the hate, but I don't like how. The Liverpool-Everton derby this weekend, I feel that was just a normal game.
Really? So I actually felt kind of the opposite. So I felt like the Liverpool-Everton this past one wasn't too crazy because I thought Everton were just really, really defensive and just sort of ceded everything to Liverpool. But in years past, it's always kind of fiery. But I felt like the Man United derby, there wasn't a ton of passion or hatred. And even at the end of the match, it looked like Jose Mourinho and Pep Guardiola exchanged somewhat pleasantries. Mourinho didn't look like he was pouting or anything like that. And that's why when I turned it off and I heard you say this, you sent me this story, I was sort of confused at all of this because I didn't really feel the hatred and it didn't even look like Jose was that upset at losing.
Yeah, well, the actual game, the Liverpool game, also nothing really was going. It was just a defensive, Liverpool just attack. It's the same thing with City. I think both games were pretty, not, very intense. But I guess the story, or just being some sort of hate, competitiveness after the fact. I feel like that was just something more of a derby culture.
Okay, fair enough. Derby. Christian,
none of us can talk today.
Yeah, none of us can talk. I don't know what's happening. Christian, what was your thoughts on the the match and then afterwards Mourinho's actions?
I felt like the match was very average. It didn't really feel like a derby. I think Man City just seemed like the better team for the majority of the game. Though it seemed like every time Lukaku touched the ball, he gave it away. He was just absolutely atrocious throughout that entire game. Everything he got involved in was the wrong decision. I don't know what he was doing in that game because he's a very solid striker. But
he was also isolated. He didn't have a ton of support.
Yeah, but when you're at that level with that team, you have to be expected to do more.
Fair enough.
someone of his size has to hold up the ball more and wait for his attackers to join him. I would say that I love all of the stuff that happened after the game. That is just such a joy to me that people are that passionate. Mourinho is the worst human being. He he is such an asshole. He just does not enjoy fun, and he just wants to kill everyone else who's happy about anything. I love the fact that Mourinho and Pep have this rivalry rebuilding. I felt like there were too much pleasantries between them recently, and it seems like that Madrid rivalry is kind of forming back up in Manchester. Love it. I love to see that. And these are two of the best managers on the planet. It's so much fun to see them butting heads again. And really, this is going to build a rivalry between the two clubs. And I think we're going to be seeing a very, very different game at the Etihad. I'm going to tell you now, Mourinho is going to send his team out the way Madrid used to come out at Barcelona. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a few red cards in that next game.
Yeah, at the very
The fight.
Yeah. Sorry, continue. I'm sorry. I can't see your mouth,
No,
so
sorry.
I didn't know you were still talking.
This fight specifically, I think, got a little bit out of hand. I saw Mikel Arteta got a cut on his head, I think, is what I was reading.
Yeah.
I don't think that is what we need at all, but Mourinho is the instigator of all this, so
Got it. I mean, so you like the fight, but you don't like people getting hit?
I don't think
Okay. Yeah.
is necessary.
All right, hold up. You're going in and out. You're going on mute and off mute. So I said you like the fight, but you don't like anybody getting hit.
I said, no, that's not true. I'm okay with the getting hit. I don't think that it's necessary to go to the point of bleeding. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to do it. You got to do what you got to do in the fight, and it's going to make for a better spectacle later.
Okay, so you're pro-fight, anti-blood.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I think it's going to make definitely an interesting second derby later this year, and so later this season into 2018. Hey, we're almost at the end of 2017. This year has just flown by, guys. Can you believe it? So I am excited about that and excited about all this drama. So I'm looking forward to things. Always good to have some drama stirred up. Now, let's stick with Man City here, but go to something that they do on Twitter that I've never seen before, but Matt seemed to think that they do this pretty often. But I saw Man City, their official Twitter account tweeted a transfer rumor in a local paper that had linked them to Alexis Sanchez. And usually you don't see clubs tweeting and linking from, especially not from official accounts, to transfer rumors. So, Christian, what was your take on them tweeting about a transfer rumor?
I think this is very misleading from Manchester City. Unless they are actually going after him full force, you're just getting your fans' hopes up. And I don't know if that's really the best way to go about this. And it also is going to affect your own players that you are playing right now. Do they have to be worried that someone's coming in to replace them? Someone like Sterling, who's having a very good season, although I hate the guy, is
Get over it, man. Get over it.
I'm not going to get over it. I just think that hearing like Alexis Sanchez might be coming in to replace you isn't really fair. And you never know at this point, and you can't even believe what your official club accounts are saying, because everything at the end of the day is rumors, and the club's official accounts don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes with their club representatives and board members and owners. You don't know, but it is very misleading to a lot of people, and I think it's just kind of creating hype that is going to eventually lead to disappointment for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's just unprofessional and just weird for an official account to tweet about rumors. But Matt, what are your thoughts on this? I know you support Man City, and you said you've seen this before. So what is your take on this?
Yeah, they do this pretty often. Like, I'm pretty sure like over the summer they do this like a couple times a week, where they like post. They have to have some sort of link with this newspaper company or this like media outlet, whatever they are. because they post about like transfer rumors and just like articles about City on this site, like from this site all the time. Like this summer, I actually think like when we were talking about like City and Donnarumma being linked, I'm pretty sure like the City official account was the one that was tweeting it, and like they said like City launching like 150 million bid for Donnarumma, and then like Ederson as the second option if we can't get him. So like I think, and like they've been I think it's been like a couple years now where they've been doing this.
So do you like that they do this?
Do I like it? I mean, kind of, because if I can just go to my team's website and see what like we're up to, like transfer rumors, because like if I go on just like a random Twitter account and just see like random people saying who we're going after, like that's not. If I'm going to like the Manchester City account, at least there's like some sort of reliability and be like, oh, okay, like this is the direction my club wants to go in.
That's interesting. I didn't think about it from that perspective. I just thought about it as somewhat unprofessional, borderline tampering, because that's a player under contract somewhere else. But I guess it is nice because, I mean, we all have been fooled by Twitter accounts or, posts online saying things or linking to things that may or may not actually be true. And it's tough to decipher what is in fact real. So I guess maybe, it would be good to have an official account that is sort of confirming rumors as fact. So I guess that is interesting. Christian,
Yeah.
any thoughts or any other thoughts here?
Not really. I just think that it is unprofessional to release this information. I don't think it needs to be out there. It's just kind of a need to know basis until things are kind of confirmed. I think that it's between the player, the agent, and the teams involved. It doesn't really need to get to the fans. I think it just creates a buzz of excitement and then disappointment when things don't go through. And I kind of don't want to know, because your players could turn on you. Say, like Coutinho is leaving, and they were to announce it now on their official club page. The fans would turn against him. They would not be happy.
Yeah, but that's not
at Liverpool.
But that's not the same situation. Instead of Coutinho leaving, this was basically Naby Keita is coming to Liverpool now instead of next summer. If you saw a transfer rumor like that, would you not be excited?
I mean, I guess I would be. He can't play in the Champions League, though, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
but that's basically what it is, right? So instead of linking to a player leaving, like it's a player possibly coming in that may invigorate your squad and make you better.
Yeah, but I feel like you would have to tweet both ways, right? If your account is doing transfer rumors.
It's your account. You can tweet whatever you want. Matt, what were you going to say?
Yeah, actually, like this week or like this past week, Sterling said some like weird, like he kind of insinuated that he's not going to be at City long. Like he said he wants to play in Spain. Like he was like saying like, "Oh, I'm here for the time being, but opportunity. Like I can't say I'm going to be here forever." He's like, Spain's always a place I wanted to play. Like I think I was like, that's kind of weird that he would say it, but like, I mean, I could see it. I mean, to be like, I guess if you want to be the best player, you have to kind of play for Barcelona, Real Madrid now.
I don't know about that, but I think that you only have one go around in this life. And especially as a professional soccer player, your career is incredibly short. And so for someone like him, who is in all likelihood going to end up on one of the best teams in Premier League, if not all of English soccer history, right? They're going to win the league, and it may be record setting. Yes, things could possibly change, but that's just the way things are looking. So at that point, what else does he really have to accomplish in Manchester? Why not have the opportunity, if he has the opportunity, to go to Spain or to go to another country and experience it through playing soccer? I will never fault anybody for doing that.
I would say for loyalty, but that guy's a snake, so we don't know. We all know he doesn't have that.
Yeah, but clubs don't have loyalty to players either, right? There's very few clubs that have actual loyalty to players too. So I think loyalty is this romantic notion that doesn't exist anymore, especially in soccer, right? So I just don't agree with that.
Okay.
You got to live in the real world, Christian. You got to grow up. All right?
No.
All right. With that is the end of our second segment here. We're going to hear a little bit more music, and then we'll be back with our third and final segment. Stay with us. All right. Talking MLS, TAM, and then Hope Solo. All right. You guys good? Any questions?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Welcome back, everyone, to our third and final segment. First off, quick congratulations to Toronto FC on winning MLS Cup this past weekend. They just absolutely dominated Seattle and were deserved winners, possibly the greatest team in MLS history. For my money, I think they are the greatest team in MLS history, at least modern MLS history. I can't really speak to some of the earlier clubs, but they're the best team I've seen since I really started following the league. Now, almost immediately after MLS Cup, the MLS offseason starts. So MLS Cup was Saturday. Sunday, there was a half-day trade window where players were actually traded. And then this week, all of the offseason activities started with the expansion draft and free agency and all of that. Now, guys, what is your take on the MLS offseason basically beginning almost immediately after MLS Cup final finishes? Like the guys have maybe a day or two to celebrate, and then some of the players were drafted in the expansion draft, and 2 days after winning MLS Cup are on a different team. Christian, what's your thought on that from MLS?
I like it. I think that you're coming right out of the season. Only 2 teams are playing in that final anyway. So everyone else is already thinking about their transfers and what type of movement they're going to be making for the upcoming season. You might as well start it as quickly as possible and start those moves, because it could take weeks for things to really get moving. And yeah, things are happening quickly. But that's because I'm sure things have been planned out already coming into this time. And I don't think it's a distraction at all or anything. So what's the harm in starting immediately after MLS Cup?
But is it fair to the players? Like, we sometimes look at players as commodities, but these people have lives, and MLS is not like they're making millions and millions of dollars. Like, they're making a decent salary, and somebody may have just bought a house, or, from a personal perspective, literally Christmas is right around the corner, and you're having these players moving all over the country, sometimes across countries, players moving from Canada to LA. What is there any sort of element of, respect human decency, or no? Is that not?
Right now, I know it's the holidays, but they're not being required to go anywhere yet. Preseason doesn't start until end of January, early February for MLS. So it doesn't really affect them now. It's getting ready for the upcoming season, and they have time to get their affairs in order. And it's part of the job. It's what you sign up for as a professional athlete. You are at risk of being let go or sent somewhere else at any time.
Well, it's a risk from a U.S. perspective. Most of the rest of the world doesn't operate this way, and you can't really be traded all of a sudden across the country or whatnot. But okay, point taken. I understand that they kind of sign up for this, and yes, there's an element of when they sign an MLS contract, yes, they're signing up and agreeing to all of this. Matt, your take on the offseason starting immediately after MLS Cup final?
I do not like this. I feel like they should just get it in sync with the rest of the world, with just like starting it up in January and doing like trades, or maybe a little bit, maybe like the week before going into January. So like you would maybe have a head start, like going into like who you need for the transfer window outside of the MLS. So like the MLS teams can like go with each other, like trade with each other, and then after that, like immediately after you see, okay, this is who we got in like the trade window, who can we get in the transfer window from other countries, like who could we bring in? And because like right after the season, maybe players are like angry about, not making the final, maybe how their team performed this year, and they'll like demand a trade. And I think like having a little bit to sit on it, maybe like spending time with the holidays, maybe have like a month off, or if you don't make like the playoffs at all, you have like 2 months off. You have like time to think about it and spend time with your family. You're like, all right, maybe I do want to stay in the location I'm at. So I think just like more time for like players to think about it, teams to think about like tension to cool when a season ends. And then maybe just like beginning of January or end of December, have like that little window of, knowing what you're going to do as like a franchise and as a player.
Fair enough. I think for me, I think that there needs to be more of a human element considered here. And I think MLS Cup final is just too late. I get why they have it when they do. The college football season's over, and that weekend that they have it is sort of open with just the NFL kind of to compete with. But I would like to see it earlier in the season. So whether it's November, probably sometime in November, I keep saying Black Friday would be the perfect day. So that's what I'm sticking to. And then you have at least a little bit more time to give the players some time to have a cooling off period for the ones that did make it to the final. Because I think it is slightly unfair for somebody to win a final and 2 days later. So Raheem Edwards was somebody who was picked up by LAFC and ultimately traded to Montreal from Toronto. So, he ultimately ended up in Montreal, which is fairly close to Toronto, but he could have been going to LAFC, 2 days after winning MLS Cup with his team. So I just don't personally like that aspect. Christian, anything else to add here?
Nope.
All right, let's talk about something else exciting happening in MLS. And the league announced that next year, starting in 2018 and 2019, there will be an additional $2.8 million in what's called targeted allocation money, or TAM. What that is just money that can be spent on players making between, I think it's $500,000 and $1 million. And it's basically ways to attract players to the league that are making that amount of money and retain players that may be looking to leave or make more money elsewhere. It's a way to retain some of those players in the league. And so it is on a discretionary basis, so clubs don't have to spend that money, so it's not part of the cap, but it is something that clubs have the opportunity to spend on. So Matt, what is your take on this increase of $2.8 million extra dollars for MLS teams starting next year?
I think it's incredible. I think it's just for the depth of, maybe not depth, but the quality of your starters, especially having, I don't know what the average is for a starting MLS player. Off the top of my head, I would have to look that up. But the high end starters, I assume, are making over 500,000. But the teams now, most teams, only have maybe a handful. So I think just increasing that quality, that's 4 or 5, pretty quality starters that are going to start on your team. Players worth that money. So I think that's just going to increase every game having, more top quality guys. If we had, obviously Maurice Edu hasn't played in a while, but if we had, Christian looked it up. So the average starter is making $316,000. So
nice.
You're gonna get a bunch of starters. You're still gonna get 5 starters, that you can afford. So I think it's just great for the league and great for the fans to see, just better players and better quality.
Absolutely. Christian, your take on the TAM increase?
Well, to start with, that average salary is about less than what Messi makes in a week, which is frightening. That is the disparity between soccer players making money. This is huge for the league. Huge. I think that
huge.
Only is huge.
Huge.
It's gonna be. I think this really adds to the team's overall quality, like Matt was saying. They're going to be able to bring in multiple players who are going to be able to make impacts on games, regardless if they're starters or not. To when they come in, they're going to be able to bring in players who really do have quality to shine, and this average MLS salary is going to go up because of that. They have more money to spend on players, and that is only going to help attract more and more players from Europe and South America, where most of the star soccer players are really coming from right now. And that is only going to help increase the homegrown U.S. players and increase interest in soccer in the U.S. And hopefully that'll improve the national team someday, and it'll help our youth academies improve.
Yeah, and another rule that we haven't talked about is MLS is weird when you transfer players out of the league in that they share that transfer fee with other owners in the league. Now, there's an exception this year happening where 100% of homegrown transfers are now going to stay with that club. So it gives them an additional incentive to develop those types of players. Now, I think with this TAM increase, switching back to that, we are at the point that the league has been building for its 20-some years of existence. We're at the point where the rocket ship is literally about to take off for soccer in this country. This is my personal opinion. So salary cap is in the high 3 million, so 3.7. You're talking about an additional 1.2 million in TAM that was already in the league, then plus 2.8 million. So you're talking about an additional 4 million on top of that. Then you have designated players who you can pay whatever you want. So MLS teams have a ton of more money to spend. And I have always said they need to get to an average of 10 million at least in spend per club minimum for the league to really start to take off and have that money not spent on designated players, but really fill out the middle to bottom of your roster. And what this is designed to do is exactly that. You're taking your starters right now, you're kind of bumping them back to be middle/lower end of your roster because you're bringing in, like Matt said, 4, 5, sometimes 6 TAM level players that can be starting and contributing. And this is how you build depth in your rosters. This is how you start to compete and do better than Liga MX in CONCACAF Champions League. And I think that this is where the league is really going to start improving quality and really going to start broadening its appeal around the world and really start to get to a point where in the next collective bargaining agreement where, they deal with the players and the salary cap and all of that stuff, I think you're going to see that really take off, and you're going to see 10 to 15 to $20 million payrolls as the norm in MLS in the not too distant future, which is how the league kind of really starts to take off. So I couldn't be more excited about all of this. That was my little rant there, and I am so freaking pumped about this. So I'm excited. I hope, because it is discretionary and teams don't have to spend this money, I really hope teams, the majority of teams, do take advantage of this, though, because it really has the opportunity to really help the league take off. Guys, anything else to add?
Nope. Nah.
All right. Last thing here, let's talk about Hope Solo. So she is the former U.S. women's national team goalkeeper, best goalkeeper in the world for a long period of time. She recently announced that she is running for U.S. soccer president. I think she would be the 8th, 9th, 10th, I don't even know at this point, it's tough to keep track, candidate running for president of the federation. Christian, your thoughts on Hope Solo potentially running and winning the election? Any thoughts there?
Maybe she can beat some sense into some people in U.S. soccer. She is probably not what we need to really be in a U.S. soccer role. She has a little bit of a criminal history now. Not the best. She abused a child. I don't know.
Okay. Allegedly, it's still all right. Can you not like? She allegedly did that. I think it's still a court case. So, but yes, she has had some legal issues.
She has had legal issues. Okay, fine. We can put it that way. We all know what you did. So I don't think she really is best for what we need right now. I think we need someone who's more involved in governance behind the scenes. I just don't think that a player or a former player or someone from the media is going to be able to make that impact that we need for U.S. soccer. And yeah, it would be different. And that's kind of what people thought with Trump. They said, oh, he's something different, something that we haven't had before as a politician. Like he's not that. So you never know what you're going to get. And maybe this will make a difference. Just to me, I think we need someone who's more experienced in this specific type of role to make a bigger impact down the line.
Okay, fair enough. Matt, your thoughts on Hope Solo running for president? U.S. soccer president?
So I don't really know what exactly her stance is on what how she's going to change what's going on right now. So I guess I can't make a statement on her ideas, but her as a person, just how she's been portrayed in the media and on the U.S. women's team, and her troubles of her attitude. Not even the criminal thing is a whole different thing, but even her attitude and getting benched for the World Cup and how she reacted in the media, it seems like she's a little hot-headed and maybe overreacts to certain things. That may not be what we need, but I don't necessarily know all of her, what she's promoting and how she's going to change U.S. soccer. So I can't say she's going to be worse than what we are now, because how much worse could it possibly get at this point?
Yeah. Yes. So I think her policy, I did read her statement, and it was pretty generic. It was just, we need to make sure there's equality for the women's pay. We need to improve the quality on the men's side. We need to increase transparency. It's a lot of what everyone else is kind of saying. So it's tough to really decipher between them. I'm not opposed to having a former player be head of the federation. I am liking more and more Kyle Martino as possibly winning the election, but I don't think Hope Solo would be the best candidate to win and run the election, run the federation, specifically for the reasons that she is hot-headed, and that I don't really know what really qualifies her. I don't know what she's been up to since she retired, and so I think that I would like to see her maybe get involved in more governance or get involved in things before, you know, she would actually be handed the keys to sort of the car of running the federation. So that's my perspective. Also, I do just want to say things could be a lot worse for U.S. soccer. Yes, we didn't qualify for the World Cup, but I think there is still a lot going for it. And so I don't think we need a complete revolution of U.S. soccer. I think we just need to continue sort of the evolution and, you know, maybe a little bit more than evolution, but we don't need to completely blow everything up and start over from scratch, because there are a lot of things sort of going for it, especially on the development academy side of things. And you know, we turned out Tyler Adams, Weston McKinney, Christian Pulisic. So there are talented players sort of coming through. So we just need to figure out ways to produce more of them. So that's my 2 cents. Guys, anything else to add? Yep, Christian?
Yeah, I think her would be a little bit scary, as you talked about, but I think a lot, especially with the women's national team, I remember them talking about this when Jurgen Klinsmann was in charge. They were really like adamant that players that weren't born in America but are of American descent shouldn't be allowed on the team. I don't know if that's really what we need. I think that they're Americans still, so yeah, they should still be allowed to play if that's what they want to do and if they're going to add quality to the team. I don't know if she was really one of the ones adamant about that. I'm pretty sure she was, her and Abby Wambach.
Yeah, it was. I know it was Abby Wambach. I don't know if anybody else came out, but it was definitely Abby.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm just saying, if she was that way, I don't know if I really can trust that she's ideal for that type of position, if she's not seeing all sides of that. But at the same time, I just, if she's going to make American soccer great again, you never know. Maybe nice.
All right, guys. Matt, anything else to add on this or any other topics?
No.
All right, we will tweet this out, but I did want to say Rosario Central in Argentina had an awesome TIFO display that was the largest, it was world record, largest in the world ever, and it took up 3/4 of the stadium. So that was really, really cool to see. Check it out in the podcast show notes, and we will also tweet it out from our Twitter handle, which is at BT Soccer Pod. Christian, do you want to recap our trivia question, and Matt and I will give our guesses?
Yep, trivia question this week. Harry Kane played his 131st Premier League game this week. 90 goals in that time. How many goals did the only player who has scored more in that time score? And who was it?
Okay, I have my guess. Matt, do you want to give yours first, or do you want me to go?
I'll go. Kun Aguero, 98 goals.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to say Aguero as well, but I was going to say 97.
The only player to score more was Alan Shearer with 113 goals in 131.
Oh my God. Wow, that is insane. 113, Jesus. Shearer was going to be my other guess because I know he's the all-time record scorer in the Premier League history. But wow, I could have sworn Aguero had more.
I think he has the best minutes to goal, but he may have been like subbed or.
Yeah, that's right. All right, yeah, that was good trivia question, Christian.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, good job. All right, listeners. Hopefully you got it right because Matt and I did not. And thank you guys for being here. If you want to check out any of the stories that we talked about on this episode, they will be in the podcast show notes, so check them out. They will also tweet them out from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, which is at BT Soccer Pod. Go follow us there. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Everything was brought to you by Fan Futsal. Go check that out. If you're listening to this, you like soccer, and you will like Fan Futsal. So with that, Christian and Matt, thank you for being here. Listeners, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next week. See you, everyone. Bye. All right, guys. Thanks for doing that. Thanks, people on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. We were excited to have you here, and we'll see you next week. All right, bye.